We have essentially turned my Storyteller into a hotel, so let's take a look at it. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. I apologize again for leaving you guys hanging in the previous video, but today we're going to cover everything that I've done to the inside of my Storyteller while I was at Canyon Adventure Vans. Now, before we dive into this list, because it is quite a long one, I just want to say that I am still absolutely loving the Storyteller, mainly for the modularity of the floor plan and how big and open it feels. With a lot of the features that come from Storyteller, like the Dreamweaver bed, you can obviously flip up one side out of the way and you have a workstation on the other side. You can flip them both up and have a big open garage space. And then things like the Halo shower, which tucks out of the way, so you basically don't even realize that it's there. You have a lot more storage space because of that. And then of course the Groove Lounge, which has a bunch of different configurations allowing you to use this van however you see fit. So I'm absolutely loving the layout and the floor plan of the Storyteller Classic, and it was basically a blank canvas when I showed up at Canyon Adventure Vans. I had an idea of what I wanted to do because of how I am using a Sprinter van like this going forward. I of course wanted to have some nice livable features, making it super comfortable. That way when I'm done skiing for the day, I can come back to a nice, cozy, warm cabin type of feel. But also, this thing is my workstation. I wanted to have a nice place to work, lay out all of my camera gear, and do all of the things that I do to bring you guys these videos while I'm on the road. So I've got a big old list to go over, mainly to the inside, but we're going to start with one thing on the outside. Let me take you guys up top to the roof of my van. So coming up the side ladder of the Storyteller, the roof looks fairly normal, but you may notice some extra pieces here. So this is what is known as the upper deck seating system coming from Canyon Adventure Vans, and you will notice that it is made out of components that the roof rack is made out of. So these are front runner bars here, and if I lift this panel up, I can lift up the bar, lock it in place like that. Over above the air conditioner now, of course, I can stand on top of here, get some good views of the area, and when we're ready to chill, pop that bar into place, and now I have an upper deck seating system. Now, I don't have all of the components with me, but with this system you do get 2 seat cushions as well as a table which goes over the fan here. And this is something that when I first saw, I was talking to Jason, I was like, dude, what is that about? And then I climbed up to the top of his Storyteller, and we ended up sitting on his roof for like an hour just talking about all sorts of things. Since it is not summer yet, it is a little bit cold and windy out here, I don't have the seat cushions or the table with me. The system does come with an umbrella, and I of course had to opt for an orange umbrella. So in the summertime I will have the table, the cushions out here, the umbrella holder which will sit in the middle, and it's fit to the dimensions of the van. The umbrella has LED lighting. You can sit 2 people on this side, 1 person over here in like the king seat, and I know it seems kind of gimmicky, but until you are sitting on top of a van like this in person, it won't fully click with you, because it didn't click with me originally. I absolutely love the use of this space. It kind of turns the van into like a party van, and one of the things that I plan on doing with the Storyteller is of course traveling the country, hanging out with friends, going to expos and different camp meetups. So I'm super stoked for this, and I will share more info on the upper deck seating system in the summer months when it's a little bit nicer out here. All right, now we can move on to the good stuff on the inside of the van. We're gonna start back here by the doors and work our way through the garage into the living space until we get up to the driver's seat. So first up, right here on the door, this is known as the door organizer coming from Canyon Adventure Vans. This is a super simple solution to just add a little bit more storage to your vehicle. So of course right here I have my 1-wheel charger, and I don't have anything else in here right now because I'm still traveling fairly lightly. I'll bring you guys a full loadout of all of the gear that I end up carrying in this van in the future. But for now, all of the gear that you see in here will be fairly light. So the door organizer gives you 8 different pockets to choose from, and then a zippered pocket in the middle. That way, if you have something small and you don't want it bouncing out, you can secure your stuff in there. This is held in place with Velcro. You can also opt to actually screw it into the door panel if you want this to be permanent. With those screws, you're gonna be able to carry a lot more weight on here, but for now, I just have this thing Velcroed to my door. Now, another thing that I keep in this door organizer right now are the door stoppers from Canyon Adventure Vans. This is a super simple solution to keep your doors propped open, especially when you have things like cargo boxes or a spare tire carrier on the back of your doors. And then the final thing on the back doors, you will notice some new window covers from Canyon Adventure vans. I now have all new full window covers throughout this van, and I will show you guys a little bit more about them as we move forward to the rest of the cab. Now the stock ones that come with the Storyteller are surprisingly really good. They redesigned them for this year and they have a ton of magnets in them. They fit really well and I was definitely enjoying using them. The main benefit which made me switch to these is that I do not have to take them off and store them anywhere. Of course, when it comes to living in a van, you have a very confined space and you need to make smart decisions when it comes to storage. So these remain in place and you can zip them up or down as you see fit. Typically when I'm driving around, I will have them in this little configuration right here, simply half zipped, and then I tuck the rest of the material behind here. These are super blackout because of the way that they are cut to fit each individual window in the van. And then when you want to have blackout privacy, you simply lift it up, zip it into place. There are a ton of magnets on these, like way more magnets than any other window cover that I've seen. That way, when you are actually unzipping this, you're not pulling it from the window. So if you want it all the way open, simply fold it all the way down like that. Then you can fold this up or roll it into place, tuck it down behind there, and now you have a lot of sunlight coming into the van. It's really nice in the mornings if you are urban camping. You can just unzip it a little bit to peek out, and so far I'm really enjoying these, mainly for the fact that I don't have to store them anywhere. Now moving on to the inside. This is what I was most excited about because the Storyteller comes with a huge garage space which allows you to do whatever you want with it. And since I'm going to be working out of this van, I decided for two different components back here. On the left hand side we have the GSS, or the garage storage system. And then over here on the right hand side we have the newest version of the CSS, or the countertop seating system. So let's start right over here with the GSS. Right next to the water control panel of the Storyteller, you will notice that we have a drop-down table with super nice wood which matches the rest of the wood inside of the van. This would be great for cooking outside or just like sitting here with all of my camera gear. When I'm packing or unloading the van, it just gives you a little bit of a work surface here which otherwise would have been wasted space. So that flips up out of the way, locks into place, and it is super solid. I'm happy to report that after driving thousands of miles with this stuff in my van already, it is almost dead quiet. There's like little to no rattles. Now, if you're familiar with other CA van products, you will notice that this is now using 1-inch 80/20. This slims up the profile of everything. It actually gives you a little bit more space and makes the systems lighter overall. So on the bottom of my GSS here, if I pull this pin, you have really nice metal handles here. We have a huge pull-out storage drawer, and the main reason I wanted this was, of course, to haul around my one wheel. Last mile vehicle, this thing will give me 18 miles, so when I'm parking the van down in a city and I want to just kind of explore the area, I have that thing locked and loaded to go all the time. Charger right here, plug it in right here, super functional. Now the reason we have a pin on this drawer is because, of course, one wheels can get a little bit heavy and you don't want that thing flying out, so that locks it into place, keeps it super secure, and it's not going anywhere. Now coming up inside, let's take a look at the CSS. This is still using the same 80/20 as before. Everything is black, which matches the rest of the Storyteller. The reason they're using the standard 80/20 on here is because, of course, we have seats, and you want this thing to be beefy if you have people sitting on here. So these seats just pop up as you see here, and they have some new upholstery on here which actually matches the leather that Mercedes-Benz uses up in the front. They have hired a master at upholstery, and they're using this like waterfall kind of leather stitching on here, which makes it super comfortable. These seats are sort of made out of a memory foam, and honestly I think this might be more comfortable than the seats up front. Now when I'm seated on one of these seats, down below here next to the one wheel storage, there's a little kick pad here so you can rest your feet right on this bar here without getting any crud in that space, and you are of course greeted with this super nice bamboo worktop. Now it's a little hard to tell the size of this work surface, but of course it is like this whole bed section, so you could easily sit two people here working on laptops with multiple screens. I've seen people have an actual iMac sitting here in front of you. Now when I'm working at home, my desk is huge because I constantly have camera gear and SD cards, a computer, an extra monitor, so this kind of feels like I'm right at home. Now another good thing about these systems is that you're actually not losing a ton of space. You of course have a lot more storage over here. You have this nice work surface and a place to sit, but with these seats folded down, you can still fit something like a mountain bike, a 29-incher in here, and that is probably something that you guys will see me do here in the future. Now, while we are sitting here at the workstation, I might as well show you what's going on behind me here. This is the new underbed storage system, and I mentioned in that last video that I'm setting this van up to basically live out of full time, and I want to have all of my gear in here with redundancies. That way I don't have to pack and unpack the van when I'm ready to go on a trip. I can simply hop in, hit start, and drive off. So on this side, underneath the bed, it's a pretty shallow storage compartment, but it is enough to store your clothing. So I have t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, swimming trunks, socks, boxers, all sorts of stuff loaded out in here. And I have enough clothing which will typically last me 14 days, so like 2 weeks. The best part is that you can actually add it to this side of the GSS as well. So with my bed cushions out of the way, I can still lift up this side and get access to even more storage. I currently don't have anything in here, but this is just maximizing your storage space in a small van like this. You'll notice that I do still have the legs on here. The only reason I'm keeping them is in case I ever decide to slide this thing out. It's actually bolted to the floor into the L-track that comes with the Storyteller, and it works with the Inhabit floor mats, which you guys may have seen me install in a previous video. So you have the underbed storage here, and then you can kind of look into this top drawer, which when you have this in bed mode or workstation mode, you can actually slide this top drawer out and get access to whatever you have in here. It slides out about halfway with the Groove Lounge in its up position. However, if you have that thing in couch mode, it will slide all the way out and you can simply reach in and grab whatever you need. Now, last but certainly not least, we do have storage in the middle compartments here. I have a few extras on this side. And now for a new product, which is kind of ridiculous. It is so cool and so useful though. I've been using this a bunch while I've been on the road. This drawer, you will notice, looks a little bit different because we have this plate over here. And this is something that is very new. We just test fitted on my GSS here, but when we open this up, this is what I'm calling my cleaning drawer. Canyon Adventure Vans is going to be calling this the CavVac box. Canyon Adventure Vans vacuum box. So you'll notice in here that there is a Dirt Devil, which you may have seen in the previous video, and we fit this specifically for the GSS to fit in one of these sliding drawers. You have a 30-foot hose here, which I can reach to the front all the way to the back of the van. I even have enough length to probably pull another van up next to me and clean their van at the same time. If you already have a GSS, I believe these will be available for purchase on their website, where you can just like swap out your drawers. All you need to do is run a power cable, which goes behind the GSS, up through the wall and into this outlet right here, which as of right now, I have not really been utilizing. So then you pull your hose out, you connect it to this port right here, and check this out. Central vac system inside the Storyteller. So damn cool. Now, if you've ever traveled or lived in a van or an RV, you will know that it is super important to keep your space clean, otherwise it turns into a disaster pretty quickly. I've used a lot of different stick style vacuums in the past and they work okay, but most of the time they're kind of flying around the van. The charging bases suck, they're always falling off of it. So having that built in does take up a little bit of room, but since we have so much other storage in here, that is a compromise that I'm willing to make. So the CavVac box mixed with the Inhabit floor mats in here, this van is going to be spotless pretty much all of the time. Now, a few more things in the back cargo garage area of this van. You'll notice right above me here is a new L-track system coming from Canyon Adventure Vans, and this thing is modular for whatever type of accessories you want to mount to it. It simply screws into place right above where you're laying in bed, so I have some like bed necessities in here, like phone charger at night because my phone is always dying. They have two different sizes of these soft bags that you can choose from, and then on the outside I opted for some hooks because we're constantly hanging water bottles and my hat back here at night when we're sleeping. You can also get hooks to get even more creative on your own, maybe mount something like a Bluetooth speaker. The possibilities are pretty much endless with what you can mount to this, but for me this is super clean and simple. It gives me a little bit of storage when we're in bed at night and I'm liking it a lot. A few more things right here. We have another window cover, which is kind of customizable, so I opted for some orange pull tabs on here. This cover for the bedroom window, just like all of the other covers, you do not have to remove them, so this thing stays in place. You don't have to store it anywhere. There's also a smaller window here. If you want to crack the bedroom window, just get a little bit of fresh air in here. You can zip it up a little bit, just allow a little bit of light in. You can peek out at night. And these things are super well insulated. When I was in Phoenix, Arizona, I had all of these zipped up, and when you unzip it and stick your hand in, you'll notice a huge temperature difference. Like if the sun is beating on your glass, you can probably tell a 20 to 30 degree temperature difference from having the shades in place and then feeling on the inside of it. So great for cold weather and warm weather as well. Now, last but not least, back in this space, right next to the CSS, you will notice we now have a trash can. Having a trash can in a van like this is always super difficult because typically we're just using like grocery bags. This thing is super deep, so I've actually heard of people using this as sort of like a laundry basket. There is a pass-through on the bottom, so you can pull dirty laundry out there when you are ready to do a load of wash. And then I've been putting just small trash bags in here and holding them into place with these magnets. Flips closed, keeps the stink and smell out of the rest of your van, and that is something that is super nice to have as well. So that is for work mode, but how about when you want to go to sleep in this van? Now, I've showed you guys this one in the past in 2 different videos now, but this right here is the Canyon Adventure Van's Ultra Luxe mattress. Now, there is really nothing that I can do on video to explain to you guys how damn comfortable this mattress is, but it is definitely more comfortable than my mattress at home. They're using a lot of technology in this mattress that you will find in a mattress that you would typically find in a home, and because of that, it is insanely comfortable. The stock Storyteller mattress, which I've said in the past, is a little bit firm, at least for my liking. I think most people would like it to be a little bit softer. And while this mattress is a little bit thicker, you do have to kind of move it around when you are trying to use the space in a different manner. It is so worth it. I see so many people skimp out on things like mattresses and couches, but you are spending so much time in bed when you're sleeping every night, whether you're in a van or at home. I think investing in a really nice mattress is one of the smartest things you can do because you spend so much time in bed. It allows you to get better sleep. You can wake up feeling more rejuvenated, and that will allow you to adventure a little bit further. Now, one thing that I was curious about with this thicker mattress on the Dreamweaver bed in the Storyteller was, what do you do with like the bolsters and the cushions when you are driving, or maybe you want to use the workstation? Of course, you can drive with the bed in the bed position right like this. I have the charcoal sheets on here, which I had in my previous van as well. They are custom fit for mattresses like this, and they are super nice. So I can drive around like this, or if I want to get this bed up out of the way to use the GSS and the workstation on the other side, what I've been doing is taking the passenger side bolster right here, I flip it upside down and push it to the driver's side of the van. I then take my pillows, which have the Canyon Adventure Van's cases on them. Again, super comfortable. I pop those into the side over here, and then I start flipping up the bed. Snap that into place. I'll take my blanket and simply tuck that away, and now I have access to the workstation. The center portions of this mattress is held on with Velcro, so you can pop off each side. And now typically if it's just me in the van, I will throw it up over the Groove Lounge. You can put it in sofa mode and make it extra comfortable. Or if you have people sitting up front, you can simply tuck it away right like that. You can pull up your seats and get to work. So I absolutely love the new garage setup. It's just more functional, more comfortable, and that's exactly what I was shooting for when going to CA Vans, to kind of change everything up. I thought we were going to stop there until I saw a lot of the other new products that were coming out, and we did even more towards the front of the van. So let's start right here with the galley area. This is something that a lot of people are not going to appreciate unless you have traveled in a van before. This paper towel holder. I had a paper towel holder in my last van, which I just kind of like stuck underneath the cabinet right here. And whenever you would go off-road, washboard roads, even sometimes driving on the highway with your front windows open, this thing would completely unravel and just leave paper towels all over the van. This one actually has some tension to it. It's up high out of the way, and I've driven thousands of miles with this thing so far, and it has not come unraveled. So it's nice to have right above your workstation. Speaking of the workstation, we have this super premium cutting board here, which is going to come in handy once I start traveling and cooking out of this thing. A cutting board was on my list of things to get for this van, and I didn't even realize that Canyon Adventure Vans made this one, which fits perfectly over top of this new Storyteller sink cover as well. Instead of the black glass, we now have this super nice bamboo, which matches the rest of the van. You do have sort of a little bit of a drain hole here, so if you were to cut on this, you can kind of drain everything into that hole. I don't want to cut on this when I have a nice big cutting board right here. The coolest thing is that with the rubber feet on here, it fits right on top of the sink, and that way when you are traveling around, maybe taking turns a little bit too aggressively, it's not going to slide off and smash a bunch of stuff in your van. So when I'm driving, that thing sits over top of the sink cover, and of course you have this nice work surface right here. Now coming over a little bit further, here is another window cover. You will notice that there is no light bleed through here. A ton of magnets in these new covers. I have this one half zipped right now with the material just tucked away. If you want to have some blackout privacy, simply zip that up and there is absolutely no light coming through here. If you have the fan on and you want to vent with the window a little bit, you can simply open this flap, open up your window, and this one also matches the new vent cover, which you do not have to store anywhere. So this one is the same thing, customizable tabs for different colors. You can roll it up out of the way. Whenever you have your fan on, it also blocks all of the light because there is quite a lot of light that comes through these vent fans. Zip it up when you want to be blackout and insulated. Very nice touch. I love not having to store things like that. Now diving a little bit further into the L track like we had in the rear of the van, we also have it right here by the front door. Accessories on this one are some hooks, just like in the rear. This is the smaller version of the bag. I have things like my keys to the owl box on the rear in here, dumping all of my EDC items in here at night, and then the one thing that I'm kind of stoked for, but my girlfriend is most stoked for, a full-blown mirror. Now this thing can be mounted on a few different arms, so I have this one currently on a 3-inch arm, which seems to work perfectly. If I loosen up the little balls on there, you can tilt it up and down and left and right and position it however you see fit. I think the 3-inch arm on here is pretty perfect because it keeps it up out of the way. That way when you have your door open, you can kind of see out, and anything longer and it just hangs a little bit too low. This thing is very solid. I don't hear it. It's not bouncing around when I'm off-road, so huge thumbs up for that one. Now let's skip over the Groove Lounge for now because I think that's one of the best things. We're gonna save that for last. Coming up to the front, you will notice that I now have a new console table. The stock table that comes with the Storyteller mounts right here, and you can pretty much only use it when you're sitting in the Groove Lounge. Canyon Adventure Vans has now come out with its new bracket that mounts right to the back of your seat frame, and this is using Lagoon components, allowing you to kind of swivel it around, adjust the height of it up and down. And what is very cool is that you can now have a table while you're driving. You have extra cup holders up here. I even have it in Habit Design Works accessory packs in there. You can use this in the skinny mode or flip it out. That way your passenger has a place to set some stuff as well. One thing that I'm always looking for in my van is a place to leave this camera as I'm driving around. So when I'm going on a super long trip and I'm putting on hundreds of miles, I can swivel this thing into the middle. I can throw a drink in there. I have extra cup holders. I can set my camera on here. I can actually eat on here while I'm driving too, which I don't recommend, but you can do it. Then when you do not want it up front, you can simply swivel it to the back like this right here, and now you have a table while you are seated at the Groove Lounge. This is multifunction. You don't have to store it away, so typically when I'm driving, I've been keeping it either between the seats or right here. It is super solid. You can make it as high or as low as you want. This is actually in its lowest mode right here. Again, something that is super simple but adds a ton of functionality to this van, and it matches. Everything looks so good in here, like it came from either Mercedes or Storyteller. Now, one last window cover over here on the driver's side of the van. We have 2 vents on the bottom to vent your windows. You will notice the fit on here is super tight. Again, a ton of magnets. Absolutely love these covers. And that stays in place full time. And now for the front window covers, which I actually do not have in here right now because I'm storing them up here on the RB Components shelf. I had this installed while I was at Canyon Adventure Van, so I'm keeping my front window shades and the side window covers up here. They also have a cab shelf cover here from Canyon Adventure Van, so you can zip up all of your stuff. It just adds more storage and it gives you something like a place to just throw items that you don't want to see lying around in your van. It's kind of like a closet. You just throw stuff in there and forget about it. One of the main reasons why I opted for that overhead shelf was for the Showtime curtain. So when I'm not using the window covers from Storyteller, I can simply pop these snaps off and pull these blackout shades right around the front of the seats. These shades meet in the middle with some magnetic closures. And while they do not go all the way down to the floor, it is pretty dang blackout. Like, you cannot see light through these things other than a little bit at the top through the little eye holes. And here's a quick tip for you guys. With a setup like this and the Showtime curtains versus just straight up window covers with that like reflective material that you throw in the windshield, you are going to get a lot less knocks on your door in the middle of the night with a setup like this, because you can actually kind of see the cab of the van up front here, so when people are walking past they don't even really think about it. Whereas when you have window covers in, that's kind of like a telltale sign of, hey, someone is probably sleeping in there. And if you are urban camping in an area where you do not want to get knocked on, this setup is going to be a lot nicer. It does also keep it cool back here. In the winter time it will give you a little bit of insulation, but the reason why I have my Storyteller covers up here is to have that insulation on the actual windows itself. That way when it is super cold out here, I have all of my bases covered. Showtime. Open up these curtains. They're actually velcroed onto the pillar here, so you do not have any light seeping through the sides. Grab that snap, click it into place. Same thing on this side. Click that into place and you are ready to drive off. This shelf and Showtime curtain setup does work with your seats flipped around as well. That way, if you're having a big old party in here in a parking lot and you don't want people to know, you have a ton of extra seating and it's completely blacked out. You won't be able to tell that anyone is even in the van. Okay, we're getting close to the end now. Let's talk about the Groove Lounge. Even with this new console table mount up front here, the Groove Lounge still functions the same. Can flip that all the way forward, flip the centerpiece down, and then behind the shower basin of the Halo shower, which was typically kind of wasted space, I have this new Groove Lounge cushion. Now, for anyone who has ever slept on the Groove Lounge, you will know that it is adequate, but it is not super comfortable. It just needs a little bit more padding, and that's exactly what this cover gives you. There are two different sides to it. You have this kind of plush fabric side, and then on the back, you have a really rugged, almost like waterproof feeling material. That way, if you have dogs in tote, I'm definitely going to be setting this thing up with the heavy duty side upwards when we have camber in here, because there's going to be dog hair everywhere. So this will not only protect the Groove Lounge, it makes it more comfortable, gives you a nice space for your dog to sleep at night. And if you have the cab vac box in the back there, you can simply vacuum up all the dirt and the dog hair and you're good to go. And now for the piece of the puzzle that kind of puts everything way up over the top. All right, check this out. Moving the curtain out of the way. 32-inch Samsung TV. This is something that I was not planning on putting in the van, but once I saw Jason's setup in his Storyteller and how easy it is to pull this thing out and set it up, I figured I might as well. It simply pulls power from the left-hand side over here. It runs up through the wall. The TV stores away. It's sitting on top of those cushy Storyteller window covers, so it's not bouncing around and making a bunch of noise even when I'm driving off-road. I, of course, am not connected to a network right now, but it's just a full-blown TV. You could hook up an Xbox, a PlayStation, a DVD player. You can connect directly to the internet if you have Starlink. You can get Netflix, YouTube, and all of that stuff. Since the floor plan of the Storyteller is so open, I was actually watching Netflix from bed the other night. And then, of course, when you have the Groove Lounge in the lounge mode, this is a super nice spot to kick back and watch some of your favorite shows. Now, when it comes to technology in a van like this is the part where I find it to be a little bit overkill. However, there are plenty of nights when I'm out traveling by myself. Maybe it's pouring down rain and I can't go explore the area. Maybe it's snowing or freezing cold. There are often times when you're traveling on the road where you are kind of stuck in your vehicle. So having something like that. Is it over the top? Yes. Is it super cool? Also yes. Canyon Adventure Vans uses just a tiny little bracket to mount to the back of the TV. It hangs from the shelf. The TV itself is super light, and it is an insanely cool package. I never thought I would want a TV in my van, but here we are. I love it. So I believe that covers just about everything that I've done to the inside of the Storyteller so far. Huge thank you to my friends at Canyon Adventure Vans. They have a great team of people who can really help you kind of work through the process of customizing your van into a space that is more comfortable for your needs and more functional at the same time. Now, if you guys stay tuned here on the channel and over on my Instagram, I'm going to bring you guys kind of short form video of a lot of these different components to show you what I think about them after using them for a while. Things like the CAVVAC box, it's so cool. So if videos like this are not your thing, you probably didn't even make it to the end of this video, but if you did, follow along over on Instagram, both myself and Canyon Adventure Vans, and I'll bring you guys some short form content on how all these systems work together, some of the things that I like about them, and maybe some things that I don't like about them. So far though, I absolutely love everything that we've done to the van, and it makes it way more functional for how I'm using the Storyteller as I'm on the road now for the next couple of weeks, honestly for the foreseeable future. I'm going to be on the road in this van quite a lot this year. So if you have any questions on what you saw here, let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to try to answer anything as best as possible. I will also try to leave links to all of the different components if they are on the site right now. They are there, ready, available for you guys. Some of the newer things may not be out quite yet as I'm posting this video, but chances are they will be out in the next few days. So stay tuned over on their website, canyonadventurevans.com, for the release of a lot of these new products, some things that are on sale like the Dorganizer back there. Oh man, the possibilities are really endless when you are working with Canyon Adventure Vans. Check out their website, and I'm curious to see what you guys would do to a van of your own. So that is all that I had for today. If you guys are new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.